What's up guys, I'm Taylor with TK Disc Golf and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are talking about the GYRO-X Beam. This is the latest overmold technology from MVP, and I've actually had this pair of beams for the past 3 years now. 2022, MVP sent the beam to the team members to try out and then just to lock away for a rainy day. They told us not to show them anybody, just keep them locked away, and now's the day that we can actually talk about it because at Gyropalooza 2025 this year, this was one of the main exclusive discs to the event. So now that the general public has their hands on it, we can actually officially talk about the disc. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Now, first and foremost, I do want to start off by saying that this is the earliest run of prototype that MVP has ever released to the general public. Usually when we get stuff with a prototype rim released in like Gyropalooza boxes or something like that, the disc is pretty much at its final point. They're just doing some final tweaks to make sure the mold's setting up where they want it to before producing a mass amount of them for the stock release. Versus this is a true like alpha level proto. Like they are still very much changing the mold around on this disc, and pretty much all we know about it so far is it is a 12-speed distance driver. From the front, the rim looks absolutely massive, so a lot of people online are thinking, oh, it's a 14-speed or something like that. No, it's a 12-speed. You can look up the specs on the PDGA and compare it to the time lapse and other 12 speeds from other brands. It lines up perfectly dimension wise, but really what gives it away, when you flip over the disc, you can see that overmold takes up the entire wing of the disc for the most part, versus a normal MVP overmold is only like the nose cone, just moving that weight to the outermost rim of the disc. Versus this, the overmold is the entire rim. Now the beam has been in the early production phases for many years now. GYRO-X is something that they have been teasing since like I believe like 2017 or 2018. It goes a ways back. So they've been trying to build this 12-speed distance driver for a long while, long before they picked up Simon, and the Simon line time lapse obviously beat the beam to the punch for being the first 12-speed to the MVP lineup. Now I was a little bit surprised at Gyropalooza. They didn't give the general audience some talking points about what GYRO-X is intended to be, what the beam's flight numbers are projected to be once it goes to stock release. They really didn't give any information. They just kind of threw it out for some boxes and was like, all right, here you go, you can buy it, but we're not going to tell you anything. But being able to talk with Chad a little bit on the side while eavesdropping on some other conversations with fans asking him and poking him proud and trying to get some info, it kind of seems like GYRO-X is what they're just trying to put gyro technology to the limits with this, doing something a little different, going with the full overmold down the entire wing of the disc instead of the nose cone, and they're just trying to mess with the weight distribution, I guess. There's a couple different runs of these prototype beams. As you've seen some like blue proton cores with black rims. To my knowledge, those were the first production ones and the pretty much rarest of them because it was a very small run of those. They came out a little bit more understable from my knowledge. And then you've got these neutron cores with the white rims. I think that was the larger of the production runs, and these came out a little bit more overstable. I think see some white rims with proton cores. I don't know when those ones came out or what their PLHs were looking like, but I can confidently say that these were the more overstable versus the proton blue core with the black rim, which I did not able to get my hands on at Gyropalooza. Those were a little bit more unstable. Now with that general information out of the way, let's take a look and see how this prototype run that is flying for me. I've got the neutron with the white rims, as I said, which is like that second iteration where it came out a little bit more overstable. I don't really know what their intended flight for the beam is supposed to be, so I don't want to put flight numbers on this just yet, just because I don't want to get misinformation out there. I don't want people to lock onto what I say, and then all of a sudden that's just spreading bad information around. So I will say it's a 12-speed, and I'm saying it's overstable, but I don't think that's what the intended flight is for the beam down the line once they eventually release a stock run. So out of the hand, this thing flat releases, it's going to go very straight. It's very straight. It doesn't really turn much for me at all, and then has a late dumpy fade on it. So really nice fade, kind of similar to the time lapses. Honestly, that first iteration of the time lapse that had like a 3 fade or so, and even the prototype runs, very beefy. I bagged a neutron time lapse for the longest time, and this one very similar. And if you compare the PLHs and just the shape of the wing, I'm kind of like speculating, this is at least my personal opinion, the time lapse was kind of Axiom's version of the beam. They just kind of took that overall shape and just threw it at a normal overmold instead of the oversized overmold. So maybe that's how they got the first 12-speed onto the market a little bit faster. Who knows? That's a little bit of speculation for me. But overall, put a little bit of flex on this thing and it'll hold it for quite a while. and then fade out, allowing some pretty straight shots as long as you're able to commit to that anhyzer. Distance for me on this run of the beam was not super great just because I don't really fare well with super overstable stuff. But on those flex lines, I was getting these out to about 330 feet or so, I would guess. Normal distance driver like my Mayhems, I'm able to pump those out to about 375 on the golf lines. But overall, definitely losing a little bit of distance with this beam because of how overstable it was for my arm speed, but definitely pretty consistent with that dumping fade, so pretty usable for some shots if you really want to throw one of these. For those of you that were lucky to get your hands on one of these at Gyropalooza, I'd honestly recommend you just hold on to it and keep it as a nice decoration piece or a collector, because we don't really know when the beam is ever going to be released, and we don't know what iteration it's going to look like when it does eventually get released, because it could come out more neutral, it could become more unstable. We don't know what their intentions are. So this is a true collector's piece in the early production stages of the beam, and honestly, I wouldn't get your heart set on this flight. So if you're looking for an overstable disc, I would highly recommend just learning to get one of the older runs of time-lapse or get the engine from Streamline, because those are going to be very predictable and a lot more easy to get your hands on as the years come by. I want to thank you guys for watching this quick recap of what the beam is currently flying like, and I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see our Gyropalooza 2025 video, that is live on our channel. We just posted it yesterday. It's 15 minutes of just awesome shenanigans, just showing off what the event's all about and giving our honest feedback about it at the end. If you want to see more videos from us, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future uploads. All we do is talk about MVP because I am on Team MVP. So without further ado, we'll see you on the next video.